is YFM.
Now, my guest this morning on Leaderboard Series has worked tirelessly. Please focus on the words, okay? Tirelessly over the years to build a brand that has evolved into a market leader in the dry hair business on the continent, okay? I'm not talking about the country alone, the continent. She joined Standard Chartered Bank after her first degree from the University of Ghana, Legon, but later resigned somewhere around 2012 to pursue and set up her lifelong dream in the hair industry. She built a brand that has now metamorphosed into one of Africa's leading human hair companies, and of course the number one consumer choice for human hair extensions in the country and then beyond. She holds an executive MBA from the China Europe International Business School, CEIBS, Kelly ranked number 2 worldwide, as well as an executive management program in Harvard Business School. She also recently added a new line to the business called the Hair Senta International Beauty Show, HIBS Africa, which aims at projecting the beauty industry in Ghana through Africa, through beauty shows and, of course, marketing events. She's a recipient of a 40 Under 40 Sales and Marketing Award back in 2019, also nominated for the 2021 Emmy Africa Young Achiever Award, among other several awards and nominations, both locally and internationally. She has also set up the leading Senta Foundation, which focuses on redirecting, grooming, and changing the entire mindset of the youth in Ghana through free business strategy sessions, advice, leadership sessions, and capital support. As a wife, she's a mother, philanthropist, business leader, strategist, and CEO of Hair Senta. Gwyneth Adujima, popularly called Gwen, joins us this morning on the Leaderboard Series. And we'll be having a conversation since you got in. I'm very excited about this particular session. So I want to start off by congratulating you. It's been a long journey. Some of us have been following you keenly since you started, and you've really kept up the grind. The energy is always the same, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. I remember, I think 3 years ago, I was at Foresight TV. Then I used to work at Foresight TV, and I personally came to cover, I think I kept this one out. I came to cover the HIBS show and did the report on it. Yes, I was the guy that did it. Yeah, I added the voice. 2019. Yes, 2019, yes, I did the voice. I put it in the news. I did a whole thing about it. Yes, and we posted, and I remember you commented on Instagram, and I was the guy. Yeah, that's me. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to IFM.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rev.
I'm very inspired this morning about our conversation we're about to have for one reason. The business you are into now, or the business you've been into for the past few years, is or used to be a very strange turf. I remember then, growing up, the concept of having human hair or having hair beyond what you have was a strange concept to Ghanaians. People were bashing people then. I grew up in Kumasi. Wow. It was a thing. It was a secret thing, like, yeah, this, that. But then I came to Accra, and along the line, I saw something spring up, something very beautiful, and it was from your angle. And now, as we speak, beyond the success of Hair Senta, there are a lot of young ladies out there. I know men who are even in the business.
Yes, absolutely.
How do you feel when you sit back and you look at the progress the hair business has seen, not only your business here in Ghana, and I mean, you think about the fact that you're a part of the pioneers in the business here. Yeah. How does it make you feel?
It feels fantastic. You know, when you start something, and thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
Welcome.
Rev. When you start something, and it's one thing if it's already on the market, there's another when a lot of people are not doing it. You know, it can get a little bit scary. Now, when I started the Hair Senta, there were people that were selling hair extensions, but mostly were synthetic.
Yeah.
And then we also had an aspect that were 100% human hair. But not many people, or if at all, anyone had actually, set out to brand it.
Yeah.
So we saw that opportunity. And then, of course, we started active branding. And eventually, we saw the market spring up, after a couple of years, and people started retailing. Like I always say, the market is big enough for us all. So it feels good to see that now we have so many players, and we're doing so much for the industry. Hopefully we become visible and globally competitive.
We're getting there.
Absolutely.
We're definitely getting there. Now let's talk about your life personally. Who is Gwen beyond Hair Senta? Where were you born? How was growing up like for you? I'm super interested in these set of questions.
Okay, so Gwen came from humble beginnings. I came from a big family.
Okay.
I have sisters, many sisters, 6 sisters, and then
Wow.
6 brothers. In fact, 7. We're 14 in all. Yeah, sometimes I lose count.
I know.
And my dad was very entrepreneurial. He was the one that started the Bruni Wewu business, and then
Wait, hold on. Let's pause for a minute. He started what?
Bruni
The
Wewu.
Bruni Wewu.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Bruni Wewu business, and then also these video city. Charles Alenjima was known
Yeah.
for his video centers. He was really into gadgets. So you find out that my brothers, famous
They're all
people and
into-
famous films, are
Wow.
into this whole filming and film in general, because we grew up around that.
Yeah.
And my mom was in Makola, so that's where I learned the trade aspects from, because we used to take turns
Yeah.
going to the store in Ukaishi to
Wow.
work. Yes.
So as a part of you, I mean, at that age, you would
Yes.
see dad get involved in gadgets,
Oh,
things
yes.
that were new.
Yes.
And then mom is also in the market doing
the
her
market,
thing. She
doing
go
it.
out there. Let's get into your frame of mind then. At that age, when you used to visit mom at the store, what did you have any career aspirations beyond what you were seeing there?
Absolutely. I wanted to be an air hostess.
Okay.
I wanted that because I love to see them in the uniform. And
Okay.
then my grandfather was a lawyer. So later on, I said, you know what? I'm going to pursue law. But then after University of Ghana, I did start, I did my national service at Standard Chartered Bank.
Okay.
And then after the service, I was retained. So I ended up doing banking. I was a credit analyst and I loved it.
Wow.
So all my dreams of becoming a lawyer sort of just got washed away, but I loved what I was doing and I learned so much. So no regrets.
Is the dream still on? Will we at any point still see you become a lawyer? Because my friends tell me, Lord, there's a lifelong process. You can pick it up anytime.
Anytime. Well, who knows?
Who knows? It might
as long
happen.
as we have life.
What did leadership mean to you growing up? I mean, your school life. I'm told people tell me bits and bits of the life, journey of my guests before they come in, and I heard a lot of leadership,
Yes.
comments about you. Why did you get into a lot of these roles growing up in school and all that?
For me, leadership means responsibility.
Okay.
And earlier on, I realized that it's very important for you to treat leadership as it's supposed to be, which is for you to serve. It is not a title that you carry around or, place on your...
It's not an accolade. It's a calling. You are called to serve if you're a leader.
It's amazing you use those words, because that's what I always say. I say it is a calling. Okay, leadership is a calling, and I mean all of us want to be successful.
Yeah.
But you realize that to be successful, well, you need to serve, because leadership is a byproduct of learning how to serve.
Now, who were your... I don't want to use the word role models. I'm trying to... Who did you look up to then? I kind of know the answer I'm going to get, but yes, who inspired the life you're living now?
My dad. I was
Your
very
dad.
close to my
Okay.
dad, and then, he was a businessman that had experienced a lot.
A lot, yes.
So he used to talk to us, all siblings, and so I picked up a lot from my dad. And of course, when I grew up, my mom as well, and then my coach Jill,
Okay.
Jima, who
Jima, yeah.
keeps me in line and always says, never let it get into your head. Stay, in line, because you just started.
What are some of the fondest memories you have about growing up? Which area? Did you have the area you grew up at?
Latebiokoshi.
Latebiokoshi.
Yes,
Okay.
I grew up in Latebiokoshi.
What are some of the fondest memories? Do you have any memories, things you hold on to? What were you involved in? I mean, if you're not home with dad or in the market with mom or schooling or with your brothers and sisters, what else were you doing? Did you have any interest in anything else beyond these?
Absolutely. I love to play. I love to go out a lot. And I loved hanging out with, much older people.
Okay.
Who would... I was somebody that loved stories.
Great.
So anybody that had stories for me, I'll go
You're
to
with
them, and then I'll go and play my chaskele, ampe,
Oh, is it?
all kinds. I was just an area girl. That's what we used to call, I'll go to Zongo, walk around.
Wow.
just I was very adventurous.
Picking bits and bits of
Oh,
all
yes.
the lifestyles.
Oh, all the lifestyles, proper local girls.
I like that. Now, you obviously grew up in a midst of people who, now, I mean, we look at now and a lot of them picked the film business, the gadget business like you mentioned. Were you not sort of like a bit different or looked at in a different way because of the interest you had? Because obviously you didn't pick up what they're doing.
No, not at all. Not at all. I can't edit videos.
You can't do none of that.
Draw. I can't do any of that, but I can think.
Okay.
I can strategize. I can develop concepts. So I also thought, whilst I was doing my national service, I said to myself, maybe I can actually pursue advertising. So you realize with what I do, I don't call myself somebody that is a hair seller as much as I call myself a marketer, because the core, my core strength is marketing.
It's marketing.
Yes.
And I think that has been one of the pillars of your business.
Absolutely.
I mean, from where I sit, people are selling, people are in the business you're doing, but you market on a different scale.
By God's grace.
Yes, and so, I mean, it's I love the fact that you're very conscious and, intentional about it, and you just defined it. You don't call yourself a hair seller, you're actually a marketer.
Yes.
And it goes beyond that. Today we'll learn a lot about marketing, the tips in Gwen's dictionary. We'll learn about all that. But let's talk about your career after school.
Yes.
You studied and got into banking. You had the interest in doing your own business for a long time from what you've said. But at what point did you realize, okay, this is the turning point for me. Okay, this is where I say no. This is where I actually go into what my heart loves.
Yes.
What was the turning point?
The turning point was when I realized I was not giving off my best. So I always share this word with people that, when you find yourself in an industry or in a business place and you're doing very well, and then all of a sudden you realize you're not so passionate about it, it's very important that you maintain a good track record. So instead of you being within the business and then not giving them what you ought to, yes, you're 100%, just exit. But before you exit, you always need to ask yourself, where am I going?
Have a plan.
Yes. Am I really ready? Or am I just copying and pasting? Because a lot of times we look at the end product, what people are doing, and then we sort of think that, okay, if this person left the bank and they are doing so well, then maybe I should. But not all of us are supposed to leave where we are. Some of us have been placed there for a purpose. And until we can appreciate that purpose, let us not move. Let us not just look from the outside and then, make conclusions, else we'll get it wrong.
Great. We'll come to the planning bit of it, but when you decided to take this step, what was the reaction of the people around you? When I say people around you, family, even your colleagues, your bosses, one of the things, and I say this because I'm a young guy, you can have a keen interest in something, but by chance you find yourself in a space or a sector working. Let's say you work in a manufacturing company, but deep inside you want to do something PR, but you're deep inside, you're not giving off your best, but your company thinks you're doing perfect. You're fitting in there. At the end of the year, you're able to break your sales. You're able to bring in the returns. Your targets, your KPIs are all almost achieved.
Yes.
And you decide to take a step that will help you and help your future, but your company says, no. Why are you going? It's not good for you. Did you receive any such reactions? From who? Did it get to you at any point?
Yes, I had mixed reactions. I remember I had this auntie that called me and said, hey, what bank? Why in a Jai bank? I was in corporate, and that is the heart of the bank. Who lives there to
you
go
guys bring
anywhere?
in the money.
Yes, so I had that mixed reaction. But then I also realized that, wherever you find yourself, there are key things that you're going to learn from there. My presence or me working within the bank was actually meant to be, because the success of the hair center now is also because of some of the key things that I learned whilst working there, like customer service, like, branding, reputational risk implications. There's so many things that it shapes you for. So, and I never got intimidated by the suits, because I knew what it was. So somebody won't come to my office all dressed up and I'm like, hey, what my suit to me? I'm shishimi,
You used to wear it for a living.
Exactly,
I mean,
and I knew who I was whilst I was wearing that. So I think, even though I got mixed reactions, I knew the plan was big.
Yeah.
And it was going to take a long, haul for them to get it. But I was ready to, bet on myself.
Great. So you mentioned planning as part of the things you need to do
Yes.
as an individual if you want to take a big leap, from where you are to what you've always wanted to do. What was the plan for your survival then? I mean, with regards to the business idea you had, because it's something you had not tried before. This was a totally new turf,
Okay.
and it wasn't an industry that was very, common.
Okay.
It was a turf that was an unknown territory for you.
Yes.
What plan did you have? And
Okay.
I mean, I asked that because you sit here now and you've seen it all.
Yes.
Does it match what you saw or the
Yes.
plan you had before you took that
Okay.
big step to leave?
A fantastic question. Let me establish this point. Whilst at the bank in 2008, I started selling the hair from the trunk of my car.
Great.
Okay, and I was selling it to my colleagues. So now in 2009, I started doing sales in my house. So, maybe 3 times or maybe twice a year, I do sale. And then, in my backyard, and then they come and then look at the hair. Now, all along, I did not have a store. So between 2008 to 2012 October, I didn't have a store till 2012 November when I had my first store. So I had been able to sort of experiment with it. Now, before I left the bank, I knew there really wasn't much hope for the hair business.
yeah.
But then there was not much hope where I was either. However, I had believed that, if I put in my 200%, perhaps this could work. And I had that absolute conviction, of course, the backing of my siblings who knew that, Gwen had no hair herself and she'd be the best marketer
Yeah,
because
true.
if you don't have anything, if you don't have something and you're speaking to people that are probably facing the same problems, then, somehow you can connect with them. But in the end, we're not serving only people that don't have hair. We're serving people that want options, of looking different when it comes to hair.
That sounds good. And I really want to pick and hammer on the experiment bit.
Yes.
You see how people who probably are listening to you for the first time, I know a lot of people are new to this part you're sharing.
Yes.
As young people, if we want to plan,
Yes.
we must not exempt the ability to experiment.
Yes, absolutely.
And you did that low key. Yes, because that is not a part of the story, in the open books.
Yes.
While you were still in there, and so it goes back to say, while you plan, experiment.
Yes.
So you have a plan for the next 2 years, but how are you going to make sure that plan works? You experiment now. She was selling from the trunk of her car. And then at some point, she started selling from her house, doing sales from her house. So before she took the step to say, okay, I am jumping from where I am to go and do something and put in my 200%,
Yes.
she had a bit of, assurance in there.
Yes.
You leave the remaining 20% to life to do its thing, but 80% of your steps in getting to where you want to get to, you've experimented, so you have assurance in there. Now, when you decided to move and then the move finally came, and then you started, this was you having your 100% time for the business now. What were some of the challenges? Was it even challenging at all?
You see, delusions of grandeur. That's what happened to me. So in 2012, when I first got my store, I felt just because the store was nice, and the store was in East Legon, not Latibi Okoshi. But you can imagine me being in Latibi Okoshi and then
moving
coming
to,
to East Legon. It's like, it's, you come to the Ivy League, so you could almost think it's automatic. I was in for a shock. Okay, now before that, I think 2 years before that was when I'd invested heavily in stock that people were not buying. Stock that, was just laying in the house, and then people that, sort of decide to collect it, they don't pay you. So I was already, in a bit of a shock. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention was I traveled. I went to China. And I went for training on how to use sewing machines.
Wow.
And at the time, I had a little bit of money, so I felt this was the right thing to do. I did that because I wanted to flex. I wanted to show people that, I left the bank and I'm doing it big. But I didn't know what I was doing. So I came back. I'd forgotten how the training even went. I realized that I needed more hands. It wasn't just about buying the machine. Up until now, that machine is sitting in my garage. Recently we brought it out. Everything is just rusted. We cannot use it. And I saw that I was just rushing. You know how the young people say you did rush.
And this was you who had experimented. This was you who had a plan.
Yeah. Somehow, sometimes these things get into your head and you think that you've arrived. And so you start doing things that are very unnecessary. And that was what I did. And people will call me. I knew sales was not good, but I'll pretend and say, oh yeah, like especially the bank people, like, oh Charlie, how is it? If you left us, so I'm doing good. But it was all lies to just protect my ego. So it's very important that you take your time. You also have to understand that the business is not about you, it's about them. I made the business about me.
This.
Okay, I went and bought hair that I thought Ghanaians needed. I did not understand when they come to the store and say, don't you have this? They turn around and I look at my, assistant and I'm like, what are they talking about? These guys, they're not even enlightened enough. I mean, really, you want this hair? But all along, the clients were giving me clues. Rev, I had to just listen, but my ego was in the way. So business people listening to me, no matter how much money you have when you start, or no matter how much hype and hope they give you, what I want you to know is that you need to have an element of humility. You need to be patient, and you need to understand that it is a process. Don't rush it. Go through the process, because each stage is going to educate you. Each stage is going to help you prepare for the next one. If you jump, you're going to crush.
Thank you very much for that, Gwen. And I mean, I love how you just went real with it. The fact that you can still plan and along the line veer off a bit based on what you think you know. The depth of your knowledge will make you feel like, you're on top of the decision-making board. But it's really about the people.
Yes, absolutely.
And it goes a long way to solidify the points in entrepreneurship these days. And these are things young people should know. You are about to solve a problem. But then, is this what the people want solutions to? If yes, then they are willing to buy into your concept and buy whatever it is that you are offering. You can have a solution that is very good, but it won't be their solution. At the end of the day, you're not serving yourself, you're serving the people.
Absolutely.
And so you need to find time and dive deep into their wants, what they like, their interests. In that, you solve that problem for them, and they'll pay whatever amount they have to pay and ensure that your business thrives.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about funding. How was it like for you? What kind of sacrifices did you have to make then? Because you were working and still selling, and you were building towards, the future of your business. I mean, moving into a store and all that. Then I know East Legon stores were not easy to come by. What kind of financial sacrifices did you have to make as a young lady in order to see the success of your company?
Okay, so obviously when I started, before the car I was selling as it was, but then I got the car, it was in the trunk, because at the time we didn't have the money to do that. And apart from the money, nobody really sort of believed in this dream that I had. I was married then, so I remember in the beginning, of course, I had to use my own funding from the bank, savings and all of that. Then eventually I had help from my husband, who, invested, some amount of money in it. But even that, everything just went up in the sky. We blew it up. Because then I didn't know what I was doing.
That was your trial period?
Yeah, that was a trial period. So eventually I had, people support here and there. And then, of course, he also helped a bit. And then I started growing the business from scratch again, and then somehow we're able to raise enough funding to start. And then also what I can say has really helped me is, supplier-buyer relationship. Okay. If you don't have that, it can be very difficult because, as a business person, you always don't have the funding, that full cash, that capital to say, hey, take all this money. So that relationship has helped a lot because we're able to get some credit terms and, we work, we pay, that kind of thing.
Great.
So that has also helped.
Okay. Now, one other important thing you mentioned I'd like us to revisit is you at some point realized you needed more hands on deck.
Yes.
What did you look at then in picking the team members you had? You had the dream. They didn't see the dream you had. Okay. You knew the mission of the company. How did you grab the people you had then who helped you buy into the dream of the business in terms of where you are now. How did you build it to this point, and how did you select these team members?
Okay.
What did you look out for?
Okay. You know, the books will tell you that people are your greatest assets. I beg to differ. The right people are your biggest assets. Okay. So we need to always find the right people for the job. It's not about just, hiring people and making your company look like there's so many people and then just wasting everybody's time because people are not serious. So for me, I hire a combination of skill and character. Skill is never enough for me. You have to have good character, because somebody that does not have good character will not help your company to grow or to increase. Integrity is very important to me. And personally, as a CEO, I have a very high level of discernment by God's grace. So during the interviews, I'm able to sort of discern character.
Yeah.
I don't know how it happens, but I'm sure it's
you
the Holy
see through
Spirit.
people, right? I like that.
God sees through people, but so let's say the God that lives in us enables us to see some of these things. We've not always been right, we've gotten it wrong, but it's also important that as a business leader, you have your company know what the vision is. Okay, a lot of times you keep the vision to yourself. But if the people don't know the vision, how are they going to travel along with you? You need to give them some hope. So you give them the vision. Okay, we always focus on the mission. But even the mission, it becomes just a statement. The mission has to be acted on.
Yeah.
So constantly you have to ensure the mission, we're on mission, we're, in action. But more importantly, ask them, where is our vision? I mean, where do we want to go?
How do we carry ourselves from where we are now to the mission?
Exactly. And then excellence. You need to drive excellence. Okay. Unfortunately, we're very easily satisfied with mediocrity. Okay. So mediocrity is always dressed as excellence. We award mediocrity. We hype mediocrity. That is the kind of system that we're in. Okay. So now the person that has adopted a role model that is dressed as excellent but is actually mediocre. So it becomes a cycle, because Rev is the one that I'm looking up to. So if Rev is mediocre, I'm going to be mediocre without knowing it, because Rev has been decorated, okay, and said to be the best. So we need to push ourselves.
That's
we
good.
need to drive excellent behavior. It's tough, I know, because I've tried it. It's not easy, but somebody has to do it. So you do it, I do it, and then let's push the agenda and raise the bar. Else we're going to be local gurus, but globally we're going to be bulus. That is fools, and we cannot compete globally. It has to stop. Okay, and I think my coach Joe always sort of hammers that in. Anytime I'm excited about something, he's a bubble buster, but he tells you that, listen, Gwen, you're nowhere. Chill.
We always need that wake-up call,
Oh, yes.
Nobody's really the best.
Yeah.
You are in the journey, you're on the journey, but every now and then you need to remind yourself you're not there yet.
Absolutely.
I read somewhere, I think last week, I've forgotten, I can't really reference that, but it said the weakest people are the ones who think they are the strongest. Yes, they think. You see,
the mindset.
yes, you can be strong and you can think you're strong.
Yes.
Try to be the strong guy. Don't think you are the strongest.
Yeah.
Because in that, you get to a point where you become reluctant. You don't remind yourself that you need to do more.
Yes.
But you have had people in your life who will constantly tell you, okay, you know what, you need to wake up.
Yeah, sometimes you get
going.
angry. Sometimes you get angry.
like, yeah, I've done so much, and then...
Yeah, and, I remember just this week we had an issue. I'm like, it's like, no, just keep on pushing. So we all need that. You need a mentor. You need somebody that can wake you up. Else the system is going to drown you big time.
I like that. Now, you touched on the kind of people you like to work with, and people being able to buy into the vision, of course, to help us get to where we really want to get to as a brand. But what kind of boss are you at work? And I'm going to get them to talk now. I have a lot of them. So we're live on Facebook, facebook.com/Y1079FM. And I have messages from Akosua Yeboah. She's watching from Hair Senta. So I'm sure she's a part of your staff. Ashley D is also watching, says, we love you, auntie. What kind of boss is Gwen? You guys, let me know, okay? On WhatsApp, if you're working with her, send me a text 0202222073. But let me
Say
just hear
the
from
truth.
you. Say the truth. Yes, she wants the truth. What kind of boss is she? I have a lady with me in the studio. Maybe along the line I'll get her to speak as well. But what kind of boss are you? What do you represent at work?
We have a family culture.
Okay.
At work, so
That I believe.
Yes, so we're very chilled. I mean, I work with my sister Nadia. Nadia Chima is the creative director. And I'm a kind of boss that I like openness. Okay, my door is not shut. I am in an office space where there are no doors, there are no windows. You see literally everything that I'm doing because I want an all-inclusive approach. And we're a small company. We're still growing. So it's very important for us to be together. And I like to get feedback from the people that I work with because I feel these are the frontliners, and then they can give us some of the feedback that people will not even give us. So we have that kind of culture where we're able to, share ideas. And it's a family culture. So you come to work and you don't, and so you realize that people rarely will work at Hair Center and quit unless after maybe they are moving somewhere else. Everyone is there. I've had my first staff member is still there. She's about 11 years now.
Wow, with you?
With me. And,
That sounds good.
Yes.
We'll hear from them, along the line. Not to say I don't believe, I do believe, but I want the experience shared by these workers. I mean, it will go a long way to inspire some of my
head of
listeners.
wholesale is here.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, how are you? I don't usually do this, but let me just bring you in for a minute. Kindly come by the microphone for me on here. I don't think we can capture you on Facebook. Kindly grab this microphone for me. Send it up. Great. Thank you so much. What's your name, please?
My name is Evelyn.
Evelyn, head of wholesale.
Yes.
What type of boss is Gwen?
She's phenomenal. She's someone that she carries us along with her. She doesn't believe in walking alone. If we are climbing up the ladder to success, let's all walk together.
Let's all work together.
That's what we do.
How does she treat people who are not with the idea of, going up together? Let's say you make it through the interview, you come in, and along the line you get swayed by something, you lose focus, and you're not really buying into the whole idea of we all growing up together. How does she treat such people?
So, like she said, we practice a family system for that, and it's just like in a family. You may have a sibling or someone going wrong. You just bring them back in line.
I like that.
So there's training, there's coaching, and we all get there.
All right. If she's not busily working, what kind of things does she do for fun? Do you, by any chance, capture her in her fun moments at work? Music, movies, what?
We dance. We listen to good music.
You guys listen to good music.
Yes.
Great. We'll come to that. We'll check that out. But thank you so much for being honest with us. I never really do this,
Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, no one. Well,
Wow.
yeah, there's always a record breaker with that.
Wow,
But
thank you so much.
welcome, Gwen. Now, let's get a bit into the numbers. Now, according to estimates, Africa's dry hair market, that's the market for weaves, wigs, and hair extensions, is currently worth over $6 billion US dollars, every year, and growing quite rapidly. Now, how's the hair industry in Ghana positioning itself to join the big players? Apart from what you're doing, the industry at large, do you think we're positioning ourselves the right way to, join in raking this big bunch?
Absolutely. I think, we have great industry players that are doing absolutely well. And I'll talk about Hips Africa, the Hair Center International Beauty Show. You saw, you experienced it and saw the kinds of people that we have within the industry who are doing phenomenal. Now, we realize that the hair industry is large, but we had not been projected as such. Okay. So what the show basically did was to project or amplify the voices of these entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things. I don't want to mention names and then leave some, but basically when we look at the Ghanaian industry, we have serious players on the market that are doing great things, from manufacturing beauty products, training, service provision, and so many things. And in this year, September, we're going to have Hips Africa again, and hopefully we're going to see even more players because
we'll
now
people
support. Thank you. People
But still on that, I want us to break it down a bit. It's an international beauty show. I've seen parts of it in the past. The fact that she actually flies in a lot of hair experts from all around the world to come and speak to young people. And I know from that time, a lot of young ladies and men were inspired to get into the business.
Yes.
Thing is, and I mentioned this in the pre-statement for the show, there are a lot of industries that look good from afar, but you don't really know the deeps. Yes. And so when people like you set out to create platforms that will give people the opportunity to actually know what is really happening in there, you don't only change the system, you create a path for a lot of people.
Yes.
And so I personally look forward to this year's, but let's just break it down, let people know what the show is about, what to expect, and what is coming up this year.
Okay, so HIPS Africa is happening September 2nd and 3rd, still at the International Conference Center. Now we're going to, one of the things that we did last 2019 was we had, locally teachers and others that also, we're training. So we're not only bringing people from outside, because we believe that within us we have champions.
Yes.
So people locally, internationally are going to come. There's going to be a lot of trainings, and we're going to have a lot of business strategy trainings as well. Because for me, before you start the business, there are certain key elements that you must know.
Yeah.
Those are, that should form the bedrock. Okay, but we start the business because we're more interested in just copying what is happening on the ground instead of truly understanding what it is we're going to start. So there's going to be a lot of business strategy trainings, not the business itself. Then of course there will be specific training depending on what you want to do. And then there's going to be, of course, the entertainment aspect of it, which, so it's a lot of learning.
The part I love.
And yes, and some entertainment. It's going to be beautiful. We have people coming in from Australia, different countries, who for the last 2 years have been asking us, when is the next one? When is the next one? Because we want to be a part of it. Actually, the biggest hair company, I can't mention names, in the States, after HIPS Africa in 2019, contacted us and said that, listen, they saw the show and they could not believe this happened in Africa. Bear in mind, this was our first show.
Yeah.
And then they said, you know what, we want to be a part of it. But what we want to do is, we don't want to bring anybody yet. We want to project the African hair and beauty industry. And then we're going to play with the giants. And eventually we become giants also, because the main mission is to make African companies become the go-to brand and to become globally competitive.
Gwen, do you get young ladies and men walking up to you or reaching out to you to mentor them in getting into the business?
Oh yes, absolutely. Always. I mean, during the lockdown, I did a one-on-one session via Zoom with then it was about 100 plus, but now we trained about 1,000 plus entrepreneurs, and we have a large number of them in the hair and beauty, in the hair industry. So basically our competitors. But then, like I said to you, the market, the market is big enough.
I like that.
And then you have to think beyond your immediate environment. Okay, so you could be training somebody who is going to be a big shot in Kenya or in America. So you have to have a bigger vision beyond what is on the ground to be able to do that. And you have to also understand that it's a calling. We're called to serve. So no matter how great you are, for me, you don't have my respect if you don't give back. Okay, if you don't share what it is you have with other people, because what happens after you go? If you really care about where you are, you're going to invest in training, in helping other people to be great. So the system, long after you, is still great.
I like that. And I pick a few things from what you said. The market is too big. You don't mind giving hands to even people who may grow into being your competitors. These are values of good Christianity. If you ask me personally, I'm a Christian, and so I do understand this. But how important is religion and your faith in Christ in your business journey? I know people who don't mix their religion or their faith with their business, but how important is religion or your faith in your business?
It's the 100% of Hair Senta. I mean, Rev, when we have a sale, okay, we're not, Apple or, retailing some iPhone or the new, Nike shoes that are in town. But when we have an annual sale, we have people that come from Swedro and from different
I
regions.
drive by at 5:30 and people are lined up already.
But some of them come the night
The
before.
night before, wow.
Okay, and then stay in cars, find
Wow,
hotels,
wow,
and then others that are local, they come around 1 a.m. And so we come back the next morning for a sale that starts, by the way, at 8:30 a.m. And then we ask who is number one. They raise their hand. I came the night before. I came at 1 a.m. I came at 2 a.m. This has to be the grace of God. And we publicly announce it. We tell everybody that God is at work within our industry. Listen, Proverbs 22:29 has said that, find a man who is skilled in his work. He will stand before kings and not before ordinary people. So what you need to understand is that if you pursue excellence, it is written in the word that God will elevate your business. And right from the get-go, we have pursued excellence. And God has been a major aspect in the growth of Hair Senta. And let me tell you something, he has just started. So one of the things that I keep preaching to business owners is that it is not by your might.
Yes.
Okay, if you understand the principles of Christ or God and understand that he lives within us, you're not going to be full of yourself. Number one, you're going to be humble, so you're going to be a good listener. You're also going to understand that it is not by basically what you can do or what you have now, because that which is within you is a rich God.
Yes, it's bigger.
It's a powerful God. And so, no competitor should make you feel afraid. No matter how broke you are now, if you stay consistent and you align what you're doing with the word of God, God will honor his promise of success to you, because we are successful.
And this has been experimented. It works.
It works.
Yes, it works. This is the blueprint. It works.
It works.
People have tried it in the past. There's proof, and I mean, no disrespect to anybody, but I believe so much in embedding the principles of what you believe in whatever you do.
Absolutely.
And so in your life, your work life, your relationship, your business, let whatever it is that you believe in transcend. I mean, let it be found everywhere. Don't be the Christian in your office and somebody else at home, or the Christian at home and then somebody else at your workplace. I mean, embed these things in there, and of course respect other values and views as well. Let yours grow and see theirs grow as well. A message in here from Exhibit the Barber inside Old Ningo says, good morning, Rev. I think the message is here. Says, Rev, I'm so touched and inspired by her story, the aspect which involves hair. Big ups to hair. that rhymed.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Exhibit the Barber. He's locked into the show all the way inside Old Ningo. One of my most loyal listeners. He never.
Wow.
He's never missed the shows. So this guy, when I travel out, he's the one that reminds me I'm out.
Oh, wow.
Yes. You guys are usually 5 hours before us. So around 4-ish in the morning, I'll get a message from him saying, Rev, you are not in Ghana.
Wow.
And I'll say, yes. How did you know? I'm listening to your show and there's somebody else on it. Yes, Exhibit, but that's him.
Exhibit,
thank you. Yes, always there for me. A message here from Akosia Yeboah says, she's amazing, a boss. I enjoy working with her, and I've been working with her for 5 years now.
Wow.
Ojo Kwabena says, Gwen, hi. Were you ever discouraged at any point? I think he missed that one, but maybe we can answer that for him. Were you ever discouraged at any point by anything, any factor in chasing the dream?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, when I started, people that had, the whole plan of Hair Senta was this. We provide the raw material, and then we work with the people that actually produce the finished product. This was a case where we would have customers come to buy the raw material. Now, we were not doing the end product, which was actually creating the wigs or working on the client's hair, and then they would take products to the salon, and then they would say, oh, this thing is not good, buy from us instead. And these were people that we were recommending, but we kept doing it, and then people said, oh, the hair is rubbish. And truly, we had some bad batches because, that's business. And they'll come, take it off, then, they'll bash you on social media, don't go there. And people will not buy for weeks. Charlie, you sit there 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, no show, nothing is happening. And it was very depressing and discouraging, and people would come to your store and say, well, be a year because, you know, you have, I wanted to create this concept store of things hanging because I thought it was cool. So they come and they look at the half-empty store and say, oh, Charlie, we can see you don't have things, but small, okay? And there were a lot of people that discouraged me, and they were laughing, you know, that's going to, you stay in your bank, you say you're going to start here, come and do it and let's see, you know, but you have to be resilient. You have to be resilient and have a big picture in mind. If you have a small picture and they discourage you, you go to sleep quick.
I read a story online. I think I read that on Forbes Africa.
Yeah.
Growing. So this is the headline. Okay, it says crowning glory, rooting for Ghana's booming wigs and hair extension markets. And I mean, I think you touched on that earlier, but looking at the industry we're in and the inspiration behind you getting on this platform to, talk about the things that you talked about. Let's look at the projection. With what is happening now, the kind of awareness that is being created around the business we're doing now, hair business, how is it looking like in the near future? Let's take 10 years from now. How much of growth are we going to see? What is really going to happen? Are we going to get to a point where we'll start manufacturing our own? What's really going to happen? Take us into the deeps with it.
Okay, so we talked about the numbers before where you said basically the industry worldwide is projected
it's churning in
6
6 billion. Yeah.
Okay, now you need to ask yourself, Rev, it's churning in 6 billion. Who are the consumers? Who are bringing in the 6 billion? Okay, who are? Most of them are us.
Yes, all of us.
Okay, most of them are us. So it's about time positions change. We need to get uncomfortable with being comfortable.
I like that.
Because it's good to sit there and then, you know, have the hair come and then you buy it. But we need to take the reins and start controlling the chain, manufacturing. We are getting into that, you know, massively by next year, but we'll start this year, you know, where we control it. Because, I mean, if we're the ones, obviously the raw material we cannot get here.
Yeah, we can.
But when it comes to processing, into the wet processing, into all kinds of materials that you can use for different hairstyles, we can do it. We have the capacity to do it. And so for me, that is the future that personally I have for myself, and I believe most of my colleagues in the industry also have that kind of future. Also, unfortunately for us, we're in an industry, or should I say in a country or in an industry where we never really establish numbers. So you never can really get the specifics.
Data is one of our.
Yes, so that data deficiency is hurting us because you can't really tell. So most of the time, I can only speak for myself because I know the numbers, I know the capacity, and I know the potential that this industry has. Because we sit in Africa and we serve the world. We serve Ukraine. She knows the countries, because she does most of the wholesale. We serve, different countries, the US, the UK, Liberia, you name it.
Yeah.
The last time, was it the Czech Republic or?
Wow.
Yeah, we're everywhere. So that gives us hope that, if God can use this little thing as hair, how much more your sophisticated business, the software developers, the people that are doing all these great things, innovations, there's so much that we can do.
Yeah.
And we need to believe in ourselves and trust the process.
I like that. Believe in yourself and trust the process. Going out with CEO of Hair Senta. She's with us on the Leaderboard Series. We have about 30 more minutes to go. It could be less, depending on what you people say. At this point, I'll take your questions. 0202222073. Send it in. Let me know what you think. If you have a question, I have a few coming in already. Shouts going out to you, Stella and Wesley Gone. Now, thinking big for your business is still thinking until you actually act on it, okay? Growing your business requires more than just thinking. It requires skills, strategy, and most importantly, financial support. Now, at Car Bank this morning, I want to assure you, we don't just think about your business, we support you and your business, no matter how small it may be. And we do this because we believe in the growing and moving together agenda. With our business and SME scheme loans, there's the working capital loans, green financing loans, coupled with our advisory and capacity building support. What we do is we do more than just banking when it comes to your business and then its success. So this morning, my piece of advice to you, while we're in here, don't leave the success of your business to the direction of the wind. Call us today. let's make ourselves friends. I mean, let's be your dependable partner, as a matter of fact. To learn more about our business and SME solutions, call us toll free on 0800 500 500 or send us a message on our social media platforms. Just search for Carbank PLC. Customer care at carbank.net is our official email. Send us an email or walk into any Carbank branch. Let us do business. Carbank, forward together. And a quick one coming from MTN, saying a big thank you to you all for being lovely. You are lovely customers, and we're rewarding you with special freebies to celebrate your special anniversary with the network. So we're saying if you've been a part of the Yellow family for 5, 10, 15 or 20 years, MTN will spice up your special milestone with a whole 3 hours of MTN to MTN talk time and up to 1.5 gigabyte data so they can keep up with your friends and family. Share the love online, okay? Big ups to you, and keep doing what you love to do best on Ghana's #1 telecommunications network. All right, it's time for yours. 0202222073. If you are on our Facebook, kindly drop a comment in there if you have a question for Gwen. She's right here with us. So a message from Stella inside West Legon. Stella wants to know if she can get into the hair business and still do her teaching job.
It depends. It depends on how big you want to go.
Okay.
Because if you want to treat this as a side hustle, well, you could do that. But at the same time, you know, these are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself personally.
Yeah.
Because if your teaching job obviously is bringing you much, and it needs you to be very focused, and you realize that's the hair business, because a lot of times we treat the hair business like, oh, it can be conveniently a side hustle. It is not a side hustle if you want to do it like this, because I was doing the same thing whilst at the bank, but I realized I could not combine the two. One was going to get hit. Either the hair business was going to get hit, or, you know, the bank job was going to get hit. So, Stella, right?
Yes.
Yes, Stella, you need to ask yourself some hard questions. And probably you can start a little bit and see how it goes. If it's something that you can leave your daytime job for, well,
kudos.
Yeah.
And I always say this: if you treat something as a side hustle, you get side returns. You won't get a full one. So make a decision, Stella. I mean, ask yourself these questions. Can you focus on both at the same time? Won't one suffer? If your teaching job is going to suffer, the kids are going to suffer. I think you need to make the right decision, you know. Sit down and critically ask yourself if you really want to do this. If you get the right answers, you can get in it, of course. At this point, we'll take some more. I mean, 0202222073. Message here on Facebook from Barbie Mante Frimpong Ama says, I've been a marketing strategy with Gwen, and I can tell you she knows her stuff. I'm learning from her. Good to know you're learning from her. Big shouts going out to you. Barbie Mante, good morning to you. Gwen, let's talk about family. What kind of family do you have now?
I have a boy, a girl.
Great.
Yes.
What are you doing different from the family setup you grew up in? What is different? Or is it the same thing you're doing now?
It's a little bit different, but I learned a lot from my mom. One was, you know, to be patient. And then also that no matter how busy you get with your job, you need to understand that the family also needs to be taken care of.
Yes.
And my picture perfect family is one that is filled with peace. Okay, because without peace, there will not be growth. And if we don't grow, we will die. You know, metaphorically.
Yes, we will. I like that.
And, you know.
I like that. What would be your advice to young entrepreneurs? I mean, people who are trying to chase the dream and are still trying to create a family and, you know, trying to balance, basically, I mean, two sets of people, the ones who are trying to set up their own family and the ones who are already in there and are trying to find that perfect balance. I don't know if there's even a perfect balance in there.
I know. You know, it's difficult. It's difficult, and then we always talk about balancing and how, yes, it's difficult, you can do it, but you also need to put systems in place. Okay? You can't just, because I mean, whatever happens, there are days that you be a good mother, there are days that you be a bad mother, days that you be a good wife, days where you be a bad wife. But if you can place certain systems in place, please do. And I for one, I used to go to work 6 times a week, and then on the Sunday after church, I get on my phone, because everything, I mean, Hair Senta was built purely out of social media. So I get on my phone and I start working. But I realized that, you know, it's starving my kids, it's starving my family life. your husband needs you, the kids need you. So I said to myself intentionally that, I have to break on Saturdays unless Friday sales are not good. That one, I beg them that I have to go and rectify, because I don't like losing out on an opportunity that is sitting right there, because sometimes we know that a week before we've just been lazy, and that's why our numbers are like that. So that's I will go to work. So you can't be consistent, but don't be too hard on yourself. Just try to put systems in place and then balance what you can.
I think discipline plays a key role as well.
Yes,
personal discipline. Know what you want and know how you can balance the things that you need to balance. There's nothing like perfect balance, as she mentioned. Just make sure if there are days you have to be a bad wife, make sure the next day you be a good wife. If you lose certain time here, you make sure you fill it in the next day. Just find it around. And then are any of your kids showing interest in the business you're doing?
Yes, my son shows interest.
Oh, your son?
Yes, but I don't know which is his interest. Because I do this business strategy also. So I think his
more into that.
is into that. And then my daughter loves beauty. She says she's going to create a skincare for dark women, and talks about product development. Fortunately for her, she had the design, the whole creative design side that my siblings have. So she's able to edit her stuff and do her own digital creations.
That's beautiful.
And she's 12. So.
Oh wow! She started early. I like that. By 20, she'll be a millionaire. We'll just pray and tap into that. Amen. Anyways, now you set up the Leading Senta Foundation, which focuses on redirecting grooming and changing the entire mindset of the youth in Ghana.
Yes.
Now, how is this foundation working to achieve these goals? Were expectations met after a recent seminar? I heard you had the last one.
Yes.
No long ago.
Yes, the last one was amazing. We had a digital strategist, Ellie, Daniel Wilson.
Yes, our own Ellie?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Ellie was there.
Oh, cool.
He was amazing. He talked a lot about social media and the kind of tools that we need to, implement, because sometimes people have an idea of what they want to do, but they don't know where to start. So he was phenomenal. And Leading Senta, basically, as you said, is to groom the young mind. We have a lot of successful people here, but not many people that are willing to share.
That's true.
People that to teach, you ask them, how do you make money? They say, go to school. They don't really tell you anything. God will help you, and that kind of thing. So Leading Senta is not your typical session where you come and it's all business semantics, you have to do this, your B2B and your B2B, no, none of that. These are real people that have done it and are just telling you that, listen, don't do this. So it's a bit raw. And often I do that with a co-director is Evelyn Riafi, who is here today. And then with the sessions, I run it with my brother, Gio,
okay.
And then we invite people every now and then. And then apart from giving them, the whole mindset session, we also provide financial support.
Great.
So all the sessions we've had in the past, we give funding. And I think so far we spent because we started this last year, June, and we've invested about 130,000 in in entrepreneurs, and just last week.
That's good. That sounds good. I mean, I say this because growing up in Kumasi, one of the lines we used to live with is a foot will be unchanged duration. Yes. The key point in there is my two for you, and that is what Leading Senta is doing. I mean, that's just on the side. So we look forward to the next one.
Yes.
Ellie didn't tell me this, but I'll pick that up with him. Shout out to good morning going out to Mrs. Eunice Kwaku Tony. She's watching. She's from Global Media Alliance, the executive office. Yes, she loves the leaderboard series. What are your thoughts on the sort of change we can bring to communities to ensure the girl child is continuously empowered? You were obviously empowered by the family setting you were in, the kind of things that you were exposed to, empowered you at a tender age to make the decisions you took to get here. In the communities, how do we ensure that we are able to continuously empower the young girl? What kind of atmosphere should we create? What are the things you think we should do?
Okay, I think straight up answer, less talk, more action. Okay, the talk is plenty. We talk, but nothing happens. So I have, this thing I say, if you know better, do better. Okay, so individually, you where are you from, Rev, in Kumasi?
Kwadaso Estate.
Kwadaso.
Estate,
Okay,
yeah.
when was the last time that you gathered Kwadaso girls and said, oh, you know, I
The
want
boys,
to...
the girls, they don't like me.
Yeah.
The boys, it's the boys. It's the boys
The
that I
boys,
got.
you
No, so the
gather.
thing, I grew up there. I'm from Central Region.
Yes.
So that I do, you know, on the other side, whenever I
other
visit
side.
my hometown.
Okay.
Yes. So
Yes.
it's empower them.
So so imagine all of us are doing that
yeah.
in our small way. You know, because I think we have a high dependency rate here. We always think it's somebody else's responsibility.
that's it. We all need to pick it up.
Yeah, so if all of us will pick it up, if you know better, do better, show us how to do it. You know, and basically it will change.
I'll
You know,
take a
the
cue
story
from
will
that.
change, yeah.
I mean, thank you for reminding me on that.
Yes, we all can do
Yeah,
something.
we all can do something.
We all can do
but
something.
Kwadaso Estate, the girls don't like me.
They don't like
No,
you.
no.
Maybe you're too handsome. That's the problem.
No, I did. I used to. No, they don't like me. I just won't go deep, but they don't like
Yeah,
me.
listen.
They don't like me. They don't like me. Gwen, what are some of the misconceptions? I mean, you have been in the business for a while. You obviously mentor a lot of people. Leading Senta also brings together young, energetic people who'd want to get into businesses. What are some of the misconceptions people have about entrepreneurship, one, and then the type of business you do? Things you'd want them to clear from their head before they get in.
Okay. First of all, the beauty industry is not filled up with people that are dumb, people that didn't do well in school, and that's why
They're
they
doing that.
went to do, you know, they went to pursue beauty. So that has to stop, you know, because, you know, I'm coming up with something. We'll talk about it later, maybe
Okay,
not
sure.
here. But, you know, one of the reviews I got from the person that appraised my work was, wow, this is really amazing coming from a hair seller. You know, so and so you ask yourself, so what
It's
is
a
a hair
big
seller supposed to be?
stereotype,
A
yeah.
hair seller is not supposed to have a mind of their own. And then I remember when I went to pursue my MBA, they said, a hair seller dear, with the MBA koyeding, you know, and it has to stop. So anytime I enter a room and then they said, oh, there's a hair center lady, and then you start speaking, you know, for the people that don't know you, like, oh, hey, what go school? Oh, hey, I say, you know, and that brings to my point that education is not everything, okay? There are people that did not get any formal education, but are doing so much better than you and I.
That's
and
true.
they have so much wisdom that we can tap
That's
into.
true.
So for me, what we need to really stop doing is judging people. Okay, we need to leave the judging to God. God is the only person that can judge, and He makes us all different. He makes some of us go to school. He makes some of us not go to school, but you know, His purpose is always actualized. He will use at least one of us
To do what
and
He wants to do.
great things. That's
like
the
that.
power of God.
Let's talk a little bit about, you know, fun stuff that you like to do. Your Evelyn mentioned that you like to dance. I'm sure you're obviously into music.
Yes.
Your brothers, I mean, you're from a family of stars. I always say this. I mean, everybody. So how do you guys feel when you gather, when you guys come together? The renowned video directors, you know, filmmakers. There's a model who's a great creative mind.
Yes.
There's you, and then the other ones as well. Huh?
Yes.
Who's the young one? Who's a small guy in there when you guys come together?
Nobody is a small
Nobody
guy.
is.
No, nobody's a small guy.
It'll be easy.
Yes, you know, all my sisters are doing great. I mean, we have, you know, a pharmacist, you know, she's in the US, and then we have Treats and Tails, Greta.
Yes, yes,
You know,
yes.
she does amazing
Oh.
things when it comes to balloons. And then my sister, Nadia, you know,
Nadia,
great creative
yeah.
mind. Joe, you know, excellence in branding and marketing. OG, who
OG,
started,
yes,
who got
yes,
us into
yes,
the whole
yes.
video production, you know, in terms of music videos and working with artists. So everybody is good, but I think we're all not the same. We're just connected. So somehow, one's weakness, you realize that, oh, this other family member has a strength. I mean, if you look at Hair Center logo, OG created the logo.
Created that for you.
You know, and then George was the one that basically was my brain, so I don't go
Yeah.
to sleep. And then Nadia is the one that creates the content. And then Evelyn, who is our family member now, is also the one that is always with me and says,
Evelyn?
Yes, Evelyn.
Hi, Evelyn. New family member.
Yes.
I think we'll do the swearing in sometime next week and
Yes.
switch your surname, okay? You're officially becoming a
Evelyn,
Jima.
we have
Yeah.
to Jima.
Yeah.
You know.
Gwen,
so-
what's that one thing about you? One fun thing. Let me just break that down. One fun thing about you that people don't know.
Oh, I can dance. I can dance. I mean, back in the day, before, you know, I got, you know, all
Wait, is
I
it like
embrace
proper
God.
dance or?
Oh, like I thought I was so sure. First, I said, me, I have to marry, some hip hop star so we can go to the club. And I
gonna be
also used to
dancing
say
to her.
that, oh, I'll be a great pole dancer because I can, I'm very flexible.
Really?
Yes, yes. So I had all kinds of dreams that I would be the
Wild
greatest
dreams.
one, wild dreams, and I'll be the greatest.
And then
to do
God
it.
came in along the line.
Yeah, God came along the line, but who knows? Who knows at this purpose class? Who knows?
Great. Wow. My God. What's your advice to, you're one of the few CEOs who really use social media. You guys have realized the power of social media in your day-to-day activities, with the company. And what kind of advice would you give young entrepreneurs about social media? Utilizing the power of social media to the fullest.
Okay, first of all, social media should not be treated like it's a plaything. It's not a plaything. And I was going to say this at the end, but I think I'll just infuse it in now. Yeah. There's this book I read on the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Now, the first one that he talks about is let your word be impeccable. Just because you're on social media and you think it's faceless people, you can just post something and basically not honor what you say you would.
People say social media is not a real world. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't. But we built an entire brand out of social
Also,
media. When we do the sale and have all these thousands of people that come and shop, we don't use any radio. We don't use anything. All we use is one platform, and that's a hair center page. That's it. And then they come in their numbers. So social media is a very powerful tool, but you need to understand that you cannot treat it like it's a plaything and then say you do something, say, oh, if you follow me, you're going to get this, and then not honor it.
Otherwise,
your word has to be impeccable as a business person. And then the second thing is, don't take things personal. A lot of people take things personal on social media. Somebody wakes up and then they insult you, and then you take it so personal. And then as a business person, you start, throwing temper tantrums
You're
and
losing
writing
focus,
things.
yes.
Losing focus. If you think you can't afford, don't come. All those things are very unnecessary, and then it makes your company look small. So you have to stop that. You also have to not assume. We're always assuming that if we get on social media, like how Rev is doing, then we're going to get a lot of people, listening to
You don't know
us.
the backstory.
Yes, you don't know the backstory. So assumption is killing us. And then we also have to understand that we have to do our utmost best. Okay, we have to do our very best. So number one, let your word be impeccable. Do not assume, don't take it personal, and do your absolute best.
All right, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. It's been awesome. I really enjoyed it. It was personal. I think you didn't hold back on anything. I like the honesty bit of it. How do people get in touch with you if people are locked in now? No, let's throw some more light on the company. Where do we find you if we want to buy?
Okay.
If I'm locked in now and I want to buy hair,
Okay.
like Ganj just texted me he wants to buy hair for some people. So how do they find the stores? How do they get in touch pretty much?
So our website is undergoing a restructuring. Hopefully it should be back up because we got notification that yesterday was off. So it should be back up soon.
Okay.
But for now we're very active on Instagram. So we have sales executives who work from different places. So anytime you drop us a DM, there's somebody that's ready to respond. Okay, so you can connect with us via social media. That's our hub. Okay, on Instagram specifically. We're not very active on Facebook. We're going to work on that for our Facebook listeners. But on Instagram, and then, of course, our numbers are also online, and you can come to our store in East Legon. We're also in Kumasi.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, Ghana's youth and, of course, young people from all around the world are locked in now. Before we go, let's just wrap up with your final words. Anything else you'd like to touch on?
Okay.
And also, don't forget this. Please, let's say hi to your staff, the guys at East Legon. They're really tuning in now. If you can mention some names.
So, Vida, Sarah, Ashley, Hannah, Chantel, Nadia, Florence. Oh my goodness, I hope I don't forget to name Florence, Mary. Oh boy.
The rest won't talk to you, I promise.
Patricia, Eunice, Grace, Ivy, Theophilus, Stephen, Nanama, I hope I didn't miss anyone. And Yedia Crew,
Okay.
you know, we just started this new business. It's called Yedia, where we use clothing and then we retail them. The crew at Yedia is a big hello to you guys.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Gwen, for spending time with us. I'm very inspired, by the story. We look forward to getting you back sometimes, maybe on a different topic.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
there's a lot I think we can talk about on here. But thank you for inspiring young people. Thank you
Yes,
for being
the
you.
awareness, I forgot.
Yes. Thank you for taking that path, to where we are now. We're here today because you decided some many years ago to make a decision. That small decision is the reason why we're here. That small decision is the reason why all the things happening around you are happening. So we thank you so much for not looking the other way and,
looking the
choosing
other
the
way.
path you chose.
You know, there's one thing I want to say before I exit. My dad said that youth is a blessed time, but the blessedness of youth is only and fully realized when it has passed. For the people that are listening to me, I want you to know that this is our time. People have certain semantics where they say life begins at 40. Life does not begin at 40. It begins when you land on planet Earth. So you take life seriously. You take every opportunity that you're given seriously. Don't waste time and don't say people are pretending on social media, because people like to hide and say, it's nothing, it's not real. Some of it is very real. So please don't sit there and think it's all pretense. It's real. Get aligned. And most of all, I want you to embrace the word of God and commit to its principles. Connect it to what you're doing. And I believe you're going to be more than a conqueror in everything that you touch.
All right. Thank you so much.
YFM.
That was Gwen Ado, CEO of Hair Senta. She spent an hour and 22 minutes with us. Yeah, you didn't even realize, right? Y107.9 FM. A big thank you going out to Power Bank Forward Together, MTN Ghana, everywhere you go, and Chocomo by Casa Proud sponsors.
This is YFM.